7 miles down. That's how far you have to go to reach the deepest scar on Earth's surface. A place so remote, so hostile, that more people have walked on the moon than have ever ventured to its bottom. This is the Mariana Trench. But what if I told you that the trench isn't just a deep, empty chasm? What if I told you it's a wait? This journey into the unknown starts way back in 1875 with a ship called the HMS Challenger. They were the first to find this underwater canyon near Guam and named it after the nearby Mariana Islands. But they had no idea what they had stumbled upon. The crew logged some really strange things, compasses spinning wildly, weird sounds picked up by their basic equipment. Decades later, when those sounds were analyzed, they didn't match any known marine life. Those records were quickly buried, classified, and forgotten. Until now, the Mariana Trench is a colossal crescent-shaped wound in the ocean floor, stretching over 1,500 miles. Its deepest point, Challenger Deep, plunges nearly 36,000 feet. That's like taking Mount Everest and dropping it in, and you still have over a mile of water above it. The pressure down there is immense, about 8 tons per square inch. It's enough to instantly crush a person. But here's the part they don't teach you in school. In 1960, two explorers, Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh, were the first humans to touch the bottom in their submersible, the Trieste. They only spent 20 minutes down there. But when they came back up, Walsh was different. He refused to talk about what he saw for 3 whole years. An old audio recording, released much later, captured his voice. Distorted and strained, there was something down there, something that shouldn't exist at those pressures. It was watching us. That tape was sealed by the U.S. Navy and only came out because of a freedom of information request. The footage that went with it still locked away. What did they see? To really grasp the mysteries, you have to understand the journey down. The ocean is layered. First, the sunlight zone, where most life we know thrives. Then, the twilight zone, where light fades and creatures start to make their own. A phenomenon called bioluminescence. Below that is the midnight zone, a world of total darkness where creatures evolve in ways that seem to come straight from a sci-fi movie. Transparent bodies, unhinging jaws, glowing eyes. After that comes the abyssal zone, where the pressure is so intense it could flatten a nuclear submarine. Yet life somehow, impossibly, finds a way. And finally, we reach the Hadal zone, named after Hades, the underworld. This is where our story gets truly strange. Fast forward to 2012. Filmmaker James Cameron makes a solo dive to Challenger Deep. His goal was to film the bottom of the world in high definition. The official documentary showed a quiet, barren seabed with a few tiny creatures. But Cameron filmed for 7 hours, and only 90 minutes were ever released. A technician who worked on the project, speaking anonymously, described what was in the rest of the footage. He mentioned geometric patterns in the sediment, too perfect to be natural, structures that look like architecture, and movement in the background of some shots. Something massive, something that has no business existing under the kind of crushing pressure. That footage remains locked in a vault. Then there are the sounds. In 1997, underwater microphones across the Pacific picked up an ultra-low frequency sound. It was so powerful it was detected by sensors over 3,000 miles apart. They nicknamed it the Blue. Its sound profile matched a living creature. But for it to be that loud, the creature would have to be several times larger than the biggest blue whale. And where did it come from? Near the Mariana Trench. The official explanation was an ice quake in Antarctica. But many researchers say the sound profile doesn't match. It sounds biological. Whatever it was, it went silent after 1997. As if it realized it was being listened to. Expeditions have also vanished. In 2014, a Chinese research vessel was exploring near the trench. Their last transmission was garbled, but a few words came through clearly. Object approaching. Massive, not on sonar. The ship was found 3 days later, adrift. The crew was alive but disoriented, with no memory of the past 72 hours. The ship's computers were wiped. The official report blamed equipment failure and food poisoning. The crew signed non-disclosure agreements and have never spoken about it since. Maybe the most disturbing find came in 2019. Explorer Victor Vesovo made the deepest dive in history. He found what you might expect: plastic bags and candy wrappers. Human pollution had reached the deepest part of our planet. But he also saw something else. He reported seeing old metal debris, corroded beyond recognition. One piece had markings that looked like writing, but in no language he'd ever seen. When asked about it later, he became evasive, saying, "There are things down there that raise questions about our history. Questions I'm not qualified to answer." The trench itself is moving. The Pacific tectonic plate is sliding under the Mariana Plate, making it one of the most geologically violent places on Earth. Some think it acts as a pressure release valve for the planet. But there's a darker theory. A leaked email from a marine geologist suggested the trench might be biologically active. She wrote, "The subduction might not just be geological. There are thermal signatures that suggest massive organic processes. Something is metabolizing down there." Shortly after, she disappeared during a research trip to Guam. So, is the Mariana Trench just a deep, dark part of our ocean? Or is it something more? A place hiding secrets about our planet's past, and perhaps its future. The deeper we look, the more questions we find. Maybe some things are meant to stay buried in the abyss. Alright, let's talk about what actually lives down there. The creatures we know about are nightmarish enough. There's the Mariana snailfish. It's translucent, gelatinous, and holds the record for the deepest fish ever filmed, 27,000 feet down. It has no scales, no swim bladder. Its bones are partially cartilaginous just to handle the crushing pressure. Then there's the barrel-life fish, with its transparent head and tubular eyes that look straight up, searching for the silhouettes of prey against the faint light from above. And the goblin shark, a living fossil with a jaw that shoots forward to catch its prey. They're rarely seen, but specimens have been caught near the trench. And then there are the giant amphipods. These are shrimp-like creatures that, near the surface, only grow to about an inch long. But in the hadal zone, they grow to over a foot. They are scavengers that swarm over anything that falls into the abyss, stripping flesh from bone in minutes. But these are just the creatures we've documented. The ones we can point to and say, yes, this exists. What about the ones we can't? Local fishermen in the Mariana Islands have stories passed down through generations. They speak of the Tautomona, the spirits of the deep. They talk about massive shapes seen from their boats at night. Bioluminescent displays that light up entire sections of the ocean like underwater lightning. They have a warning. When the deep glows, the gods are angry. In 2016, some strange footage emerged online. It was from a research rove operating at 80 to 100 meters, nearly 5 miles down. The ROV's lights illuminated something in the distance. Something that moved with purpose, not like the drifting motion of a jellyfish or the darting of a fish. The footage shows a massive, elongated shape, possibly 60 to 80 feet in length, with what looks like segmented plating along its body. It moves toward the ROV, then suddenly accelerates upward and disappears from the frame. The footage was posted by a technician who worked for a deep-sea exploration company. He was fired the next day. The company claimed the footage was fabricated, but marine biologists who analyzed it couldn't find any signs of manipulation. The creature, whatever it was, has never been seen again on camera. There's a theory in marine biology called gigantism. Basically, in the deep ocean, creatures tend to grow much larger than their shallow water relatives. The giant squid, the colossal squid, the Japanese spider crab, they all reach enormous sizes in the deep. But why? Some scientists believe the cold, the pressure, and the scarcity of food lead to slower metabolisms and longer lifespans, allowing for extreme growth. Others wonder if there's something else, something about the depth that changes things. Here's something that will keep you up at night. We've explored less than 5% of our own ocean. The Mariana Trench alone is so vast that our few expeditions have barely scratched the surface of its depths. There could be entire ecosystems down there we've never encountered. Food chains we don't understand. Apex predators we can't even imagine. And here's the terrifying part. The trench is full of life. Everywhere we've looked, even at the deepest points, life exists, thriving, adapting. Evolution doesn't stop in the abyss. It accelerates. What might have evolved down there, in total isolation, under unimaginable pressure, for millions of years? What if something down there is intelligent? The United States military has been interested in the Mariana Trench since World War II. Very interested. In 1945, the USS Indianapolis delivered components for the atomic bomb to Tinian Island, not far from the trench. On its return journey, it was torpedoed by a Japanese submarine and sank. The survivors floated for days. Of the nearly 1,200 crew members, only 316 survived. The rest were claimed by exposure, dehydration, and shark attacks. But some of the survivors' testimonies are unusual. They reported seeing things in the water at night, massive shapes beneath them, far too large to be sharks. Lights in the deep. One survivor described a presence that he felt was observing them, circling just out of sight in the darkness below. These testimonies were dismissed as hallucinations from trauma and dehydration. Maybe they were. Or maybe, in their most vulnerable moment, floating above the trench, they glimpsed something that doesn't want to be seen. Fast forward to the Cold War. Both the United States and the Soviet Union conducted classified operations in the trench. In 1972, a Soviet submarine was detected operating near the trench at depths previously thought impossible for subs of that era. When U.S. forces tried to track it, the submarine just disappeared from sonar. Not by going silent, but by descending beyond the range of their equipment. The official record states the sub suffered a catastrophic failure and sank. But no wreckage was ever found. There are rumors unconfirmed, but persistent, that both superpowers established listening posts in the trench during the Cold War. Unmanned stations designed to detect submarine activity, but also to monitor other things. Some of these stations are supposedly still active, transmitting data to satellites above. Data that is immediately classified. What are they listening for? In 2020, the U.S. Navy conducted exercises near the trench. Routine training, they said, but the entire area was cordoned off. No civilian vessels were allowed within 200 miles. During the week, seismometers in Japan detected unusual activity. Not earthquakes, but rhythmic vibrations originating from the trench. The pattern repeated every 12 hours for 3 days. Then it stopped. The Navy won't comment on the exercises or what they found. There's a document that circulates in certain corners of the internet. It's allegedly a leaked internal memo from NOAA, dated 2018. The memo discusses bioacoustic anomalies detected in the Hadal Zone. The document states, the pattern suggests communication, possibly between multiple entities. The complexity rivals known cetacean language structures. Recommend immediate escalation to Defense Department. NOAA claims the document is a fake, but several marine biologists have privately stated that the acoustic patterns described in the memo match data they've seen from classified hydrophone networks. Someone, or something, is communicating down there, and we're listening. So what is the truth about the Mariana Trench? Is it simply the deepest part of the ocean, a geological feature where bizarre but explainable life has evolved? Or is it something more? A gateway to an ecosystem we don't understand, a habitat for creatures that challenge our understanding of biology, a place where intelligence might exist in a form we can't recognize. The evidence is fragmentary, the testimonies questionable, the footage disputed, but taken together, they paint a picture of a place that is deeply, fundamentally strange. Perhaps the trench is exactly what we fear it to be. A reminder that Earth still has secrets, that there are frontiers we haven't conquered, mysteries we haven't solved, and entities we haven't met. The Mariana Trench is 7 miles deep, but some depths can't be measured in miles. Some abysses are measured in what we don't know, and in what might be looking back. In 2023, deep-sea sensors detected a new sound. The frequency was so low it was almost imperceptible, but when enhanced, it revealed a pattern, a structure. The sound lasted for 6 hours, then silence. It hasn't repeated. Scientists are waiting, watching, listening, because if it happens again, if the pattern changes, if there's a response, then we'll have to confront a terrifying possibility. We're not alone in the abyss, and we never were. The deep is patient, the deep is vast, and the deep remembers. To date, 12 humans have walked on the moon. Only 3 have reached the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Perhaps there's a reason for that. Thanks for watching. If you want to explore more of the world's greatest mysteries, make sure to subscribe.